And welcome back to the Anime Den. And this time around we've of course got the Senran Kagura Ikaruga statue by of course Griffon Enterprises. It's a 1:1:8 scale. It's a sort of a bikini version. You know, they have this sort of thing they like to do in the R-Line series of making these bikini statues. So let's look at the box first. So here's of course the typical Griffon Enterprises style of box. It's got that sort of nice window design so you can see the figure in there. Got a bit of graphics on the front of the actual statue itself, and we come around to the side and we see pretty much the same again what we're going to get in the actual package itself. So you know, another image of course the battle damaged Ikaruga statue. Because we come around the back and we have that again nice little piece on the back again showing us the statue, and of course as you can see from this image here, I don't know if you can see it that well, some clothing does come off, so it will be one of those videos. And again, there's a bit of an interesting hilarity about all this because, you know, in the English it of course says, you know, not suitable for children under the age of 3, and then it says for all ages over 15, and then of course in Japanese it's got for over the age of 18. So there's a bit of confusion. If you live in certain countries, obviously you can play with it. And of course then we have, this is basically a reprint of the other side of the box, on this side of the box. Because we didn't come to look at the box, we came to look at the statue. So let's get the statue out. Break out the trusty old rusty blade. They always make these boxes very tight. But thankfully these statues very rarely go back in the box. I like to display my statues. They've got a nice big display cabinet full of statues. We all like to display our statues. Well, let's get Ikaruga out. Now the first thing I'm going to say, now we've got her out and you can see her in the plastic blow mould, is that it looks like Griffon's learned a bit of a lesson. The last couple of releases they've done, certainly with the Rias Grimoire statue and some of the most recent Ikitusen statues, is that they built the second torso for the topless torso. And it felt a bit cheap because it meant that there was defined lines in the body of the character where you would actually of course have to pull the character apart to actually display her either naked or clothed. So it's nice to see they've gone back to the more traditional use of the rubbery materials they used to, obviously, for the bras and so forth. So obviously as always they come in these of course nice clam packs. We love these plastic clam packs. Let me just make sure there's no tape down the sides. There we go, a little bit of tape. There's always a little bit of tape somewhere. And it should, hopefully, if we've done it right, just pop apart, and bits are already starting to fly out. So of course, that's the sheath, obviously for the sword. Let's see if we've got that right. There's the sheath. And I pressed a bit of tape. And I'm trying to stay off camera as much as I can, because let's face it, you came to see the statue, not me. And of course, just the sword that's fallen out. Nice, good length on the sword actually. Because the typical Griffon Enterprise style plastic base with a nice little metal styled display paint at the front, which of course actually has got the character's name, Ikaruga, and the show it's from, Ikaruga from of course Senran Kagura. And now of course being typical Griffon Enterprise, there's about 50 million pieces of plastic wrapped around the statue. So let's pull it all apart and let's get her out. The head's obviously key weight on, so let's see if we can just take the head off, get rid of that bit of plastic and put her head back on. And there's of course a little bit of plastic still left which we'll have to remove. We'll just take Ikaruga's head off for a second, feed this bit of plastic up. There is literally plastic. Oy, and the hand comes off. There's plastic everywhere. Typical of Griffon Enterprises, there's more plastic than is necessary. And a lot of this is probably to do with plasticizer actually, which I did do a video on some time ago. But in the meantime, it is of course just genuinely an absolute pain in the backside. That's that hand, there's no tape over that hand. So we see these clothes. There's a lot of plastic on the statue. Probably a little bit too much plastic on the statue, and half her clothing's come off. And an arm's come off. So apparently this top must then just come off because everything's keywayed. So I would assume as we go, everything comes off. Here I was bitching before about keyways. So let's get a particular design up and working first, shall we? There we go. Move the plastic. And there we have basically the display version of Ikaruga, and let's go for a bit of a close-up. So, and I'm bashing the camera around. It's got to be a Sunday night. Let's bring Ikaruga a little bit further forward. I mean, we'll do a pan around first of Ikaruga as she is. And as a standalone, for those who've watched the anime or played the game, it actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, it is a bit of an ecchi anime. I've not played the video game, I have to admit. So it sort of looks right. You know, it certainly does look pretty good. And as always, Griffon do a wonderful job of course, all the features. So, you know, there's perfect sort of facial feature. They capture it so nicely, and of course, you know, everything's caught just perfect. You know, the hair is that lovely sort of, and I mean, yeah, they do sort of have the trailing strand. I mean, they always sort of miss that little bit on the top of the head where they just have the seam line, but you know, it does look good. And it's that soft feel too. I mean, it's plastic, obviously it's PVC, but of course it's that soft feel plastic. So, you know, a couple of years from now when that's all sort of evaporated off, she'll be a bit more rigid, but at the moment it's pretty cool. So of course the next step, obviously, which is to, of course, show her in her nudity, if you will. So it looks as though, since I haven't read the instructions, and I'm sure there is instructions with it, that of course this bra just falls off. So you just take this bra off, and the bra itself is literally just a piece of sort of rubbery plastic. Let's see if I can get that a bit better on my palm. And there we go, just a bit of rubbery plastic. And it's very mouldable, so it's quite cool. And then we just put Ikaruga's head back on. And now we have topless Ikaruga, and the hair falls just in the right spot, obviously. Enough to sort of give you an idea that it might be in the right spot, but just enough to actually, you know, show us her bits. And of course, as always, it's painted very subtly. It's not too definitive. And of course, it is Senran Kagura, so all the characters are well endowed. So it should keep the little spanking monkeys out there happy. Of course, these statues aren't cheap. I mean, that's the big thing about Griffon, is that you pay a hefty price, but then you do get a hefty statue. There we go. And I'm breaking everything again. Come on, just go on, will you? Yeah. It's not my day for videos, is it? There we go. Back together, perfectly posed. It is, of course, the Ikaruga from Senran Kagura. It's the 1:8 scale by Griffon Enterprises. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.